We are live, coming here with a brand new Stir the Pod podcast show. I'm your host, Trevor, and tonight we are joined by Andy. Andy, how you doing tonight?
What up, what up?
And we are also here joined by Alex. Alex, how you doing tonight?
Yo, yo, yo.
And we are here with the episode, should we call it 15.5 or 16 recap show? It's about time we're back to the 60-minute episodes. It feels great. We're feeling energized. We're feeling refreshed. Tonight's episode of basically fuck CT. That's how I think tonight's episode went. Fuck CT. I hate so much. I'm coming out guns blazing. CT screwed up. I don't know what he was thinking. And then Nani just put the cherry on top tonight, screwing Kyle. I like Kyle. Kyle's great TV. I wanted him all the way in the final, and Nani fucked that up. So I'm coming guns blazing tonight. What did you boys think?
I thought overall, when we get these surprise 60-minute episodes, it's always a good change of pace, especially when it's fucking 16 episodes at this point. I don't know. I mean, I feel like it was good. There just wasn't a whole lot to it because it was a third shorter. The elimination wasn't great. The challenge was okay. And then between that, you really have no time for anything else. So like, I don't even want to say it's a bad episode because I feel like a bad episode would have been this stretched out to 90 minutes. But for what this was, I would say it was okay.
Andy?
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think this episode made me appreciate how back in the day they could do a 60-minute and fit in a challenge and elimination, but also a lot of good, entertaining drama. I feel like that was the piece we missed. Like, you kind of got the whole Big Brother alliance and the whole CT Kyle dynamic, but that didn't do it for me. I didn't like the challenge a whole lot, but I did like the episode. Anytime there's a 60-minute episode and we see a challenge and elimination, sign me up. The bar or the floor is average. When it's 60 minutes and you get both of those, the floor is average. For me, this was an above average episode.
Don't know why that popped up a little early, but sorry.
We'll get into that.
I don't think you could make a case that this episode was necessarily bad because there's nothing that really was bad about it. Like, every part of it was okay, and it was 60 minutes, which we all appreciate at this point.
I just worry. I mean, I don't know. And I don't know how you guys feel, chat. I just feel like we're just every episode when we give these recaps, it's the same shit. It's an all right episode. There's nothing good, like great that we're like, damn, that is a rewatchable moment. That is something I want to go back, rewatch. I remember in the good old days, me and Alex and Andy, we would used to watch the episodes 2 or 3 times. We would love to watch this shit. Now it's like, nothing was enjoyable, like to go back and like rewatch. So I don't know.
I'll pile on top of that. There's only been one episode that I've actively thought I want to go rewatch, and that was last week's, strictly to watch the elimination. That elimination is the only rewatchable of the season in my mind.
Why? Because of Anissa?
Yeah.
I feel like, in this new era of the challenge, I would say that one of the characteristics is that we have just longer seasons, like more episodes. But I don't know. Tell me if you guys agree, but I feel like this one, almost more so than those other ones, just feels like it's dragging out. Yeah. I think it's the way they've done the eliminations. They still refuse to do a double, whereas like something like Dirty 30 or whatever, I feel like even though it might have been about the same length, it didn't feel as long just because of the way they, used redemption houses and purges, things like that. Like, you felt like you were making progress every episode, whereas now it's like they have a chance to do a double, speed this thing up a little bit, and they're just not doing it.
Well, not just the fact that we're on episode 16 of a season right now, the fact that we could have easily had a double elimination tonight, which our next episode would be in the finals. We'd be locked and loaded, ready to go. And what I'm worried about is, we have one more elimination and maybe 2 episodes. We might have 2 more, like a 2-part finale. And it's just like, come on. All we need is a one. I mean, realistically, if you go back and watch some of these old seasons, the Battle of the X's 2, they literally have 2-day challenges. 2-day challenges. And the first 45 minutes is day one. It's not that long, the second part, and it's 15 minutes for day 2 of the challenge where they're just going up a mountain. That's all you got to do for the finale. We don't need to see 90 minutes and then, a good old to be continued, and then another 90 minutes. Like, I mean, come on.
But some of us like the to be continued, right?
Yes, I am a big fan of the to be continued, but when you drag it out so much, it's not good. When you do a nice twist on it, it's really good. So, any other opening statements before we just dive right in?
I think I'm good. I think, even though we're dragging on, like we said, the 60 minutes kind of gives us some life on the recap. Like we're, excited to just get this one over with. We got a little head start. Looks like we got some good activity in the chat. So I think we're good. Yeah,
I mean, we still have in the chat. We got the Jesse Adams, the Miss Newt, Rhyme Accords of the world, Mikey the there. Great to see all y'all in the chat. Little housekeeping note. I believe we're not entirely sure. We did see a tweet today from Periscope saying they are completely shutting down their app, and I think today is their last day. So just a little housekeeping note. I believe this will be our last podcast live on Periscope. We will always be on YouTube Live. So I have no idea if it's going to go Twitter Live or how this is going to work. It just automatically syncs for us. So
we'll get into
it. We'll get into it. So just a little housekeeping there. So episode recap. The episode begins with Alex's favorite thing, the winner coming home, Big T, smacking that good old gold skull.
Big T smacking the skull. The streak continues. Elimination winner, first in the house. She beat Anissa, hanging like a pig on that thing.
How much for Patreon? Ryan McCord, we are absolutely free. We do it for the goodness of our heart. We don't pay $100 for extra
Zoom call
or anything like that. No, I'm not dishing out anything. I mean, I'm not like saying Challenge Mania sucks, even though I am. But yeah, we're 100% free.
No stickers.
Yeah, nothing. All right. So after that, we get a good old 5 a.m. wake up call from CT. If you were in Big T's position, what the hell would you do? You literally get woken up by CT at 5 a.m. Is there anything you could possibly do?
I think if this would have happened episode 7 or 8 or whatever, like before they broke up or whatever you want to say, I think she would have gone back to bed. Like, I just think that's who Big T is. But I think at this point, she's like, you know what? I've lost this guy once. I know he's a good competitor. He's a legend. I just got to fucking do whatever he says at this point.
Yeah.
And good for her for doing it this time.
Yeah, she was up and at him, and I liked it. I mean, I gave CT my MVP last week, I think, and part of it was for being a good teammate. And I like it. And he even made mention of it during one of his confessionals where it's like, it might be, too little too late, you think? You think one 5 a.m. wake up is going to make her ready to run like a 20-mile final? Like, come on. But I do like just the whole idea behind it, the team building, the – you know what? Let's get after it. Let's grind. I think my favorite part about it, though, CT didn't do anything. He just watched. Like I was waiting for him, and they have the treadmills that face each other. I was waiting for him to be like, "All right, you run. I'll run right here. We got this." Nope. He was just bundled up, had a little coffee. He was just like starting his day as He was essentially in a walking sleeping bag while he was telling her what to do. That was my favorite part of it.
God. I thought it was classic. I mean, it's just CT's that type of person, though, that just acts like he's like the captain for whatever reason. Of like this team, obviously Big T's not going to carry on her own weight on this team. But the fact that he just literally did nothing, like Andy said, and just – I mean, you could literally work out during that time and you feel great for the rest of the day. You worked out, you banged it out. So you're telling me, and I'm looking at CT's perspective, you wake up at 5 a.m. just to motivate someone for what, like an hour, let's say the workout, then you probably had breakfast and then you worked out later. Like, why would you not just work out now? It makes no sense.
So true.
So, and I believe, Alex, that was basically it. And then we finally got to the challenge itself.
Yeah, that was it. We had a fast speed the whole episode. The challenge, there's a few different things we have to cover here. Let's get, before we get into the two heats, because there's two different heats that they did. Just overall thoughts on what this was. I don't know. This was one of those where I feel like it looks cooler than it ended up being. Like on the previews, when you see like all these teams and these big balls like running full speed at each other, it seems like, oh, like this could be a good challenge. I don't like ones where they have like some people on offense and defense and then going against each other, especially with the way they handled Leroy and Casey, and we'll get into that in a second. I thought that was stupid. But just overall, I feel like this was not the best challenge. And I didn't like how it was like run over targets and just try to hit as many as you could. I think they got up to like 50 or something. Like from the beginning, I thought that they would get to like 10. Like I didn't expect it to be that easy on offense. But overall, I would say average, below average. What do you guys think?
I agree. I mean, I think it's spot on in terms of looks cooler than it actually was.
Yeah.
I would just leave it at that. I also don't like when the offense defense, when there is a like alliance aspect of it, that's huge. And I'm more of a fan of like the challenge itself should be very much who can come out and put up the best time or get something done the fastest. Very much just like who can complete a challenge the best. And then the elimination, the voting, that's where the politicking comes into play. I don't like when those two when the lines get blurred a little bit.
Yeah, numbers shouldn't play a factor in a challenge.
Correct.
I think personally, I felt like this was very like Mario Party-esque minigame. Like, and I wish there was another aspect to the game where it wasn't just run it over. I wish it was something like, trying to think of the best way. Like if you run it over, let's say there's 10 dots, right? And if you run it over, it goes blue, for example. The other team runs it over, it goes red. If the other team runs it over, it goes green or whatever. So then there's only like the most you can possibly get is 12 if you get every single one. But then it mixes it up because if you just keep going over the same one, I felt like it was kind of pointless. I think it'd be more strategic if it was like a certain amount. It'd be a lot harder to count. And let me tell you, there's no chance, and I always bring this up every single time, there's literally no chance it came down to one thing. There's no between three teams, one, come on.
Well, the whole scoring system was just bananas. They would show them running over the targets, and sometimes it would be 8 points. Sometimes it would be 2.
I mean, who was watching? Who was someone just like pen and paper? They're like 1. They're tally marks. They're just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We'll give them 4. We'll give them 6.
And I assume there also had to be some sort of rules around like if you're on offense and you roll over a target, you can't just go like 5 feet and then go backwards and roll over it again, right?
No, I don't. Could you
I think within the field, within the like the little dirt pile, there was like 8 or 10 different circle targets that you could get to get points. So I'm assuming that they ended up getting multiple of the same one, but they had some sort of rule in place to say you can't just go back and forth over it.
Yeah. Mikey the doctor writes it was a cakewalk for Leroy. No one tried to stop him. But was it really a cakewalk for him if he only won by 1? Like literally. I mean, that's the thing. You watch that and like what they showed us, they looked like they were up 25. Like it wasn't even close. Like it was ridiculous. And the fact that they said it was, the difference was 1. Oh my God. And how long do you guys think it was? How long do you think this challenge was? Like 10 minutes per round or like 5 minutes or what?
I would say 10, 15 minutes maybe.
10 for the first group, 15 for the second, probably.
Yeah.
This fake stopwatch.
So Leroy and Casey, because they won the last challenge, get to pick the heats for this one, and it's going to be for both heats 3 on offense, 2 on defense. So like of course they're going to give themselves 2 shots on offense, which I hated that part of it. But the first heat on offense, you had Leroy and Casey, Nani and Fessy, and then Big CT. And then on defense, you had Cory and Cam and Kyle and Amber B. And then the second heat was basically the defense switched with the non-Leroy and Casey offensive teams. So, I mean, on the first heat, I can't really remember exactly what it like. Like, do you guys remember?
Fezzy won.
Who?
Fezzy.
Do we know
Fez.
that?
Yeah. Well, I say
No,
yeah.
I'm saying like Leroy and Casey
Right.
obviously won the whole thing, but was it the first heat or the second heat where they did the best?
It had to have been the second, and I say that for two reasons. In the first one, right at the end of the heat, they showed Leroy and Casey with like 49, and Fezzy, and Nani with like 53, and then it ended right away. So I think that showed that Fezzy won the first one, and then in the second heat, Leroy and Casey also said, CT is blocking Cam. We're just going to rack up all the points we can.
Mm-hmm. What did you guys think about the Nani statement about not being a D1 athlete?
Is Fezzy a D1 athlete?
I think there's a big asterisk by it, but I don't know where he played. I thought he played football at the University of Tennessee. So I guess that would be D1, right?
Well, the University of Tennessee is a well-established program. The best quarterback of all time went there. So I'd be a little skeptical if the old Fezmeister went there as well. But I do remember him saying something about going to the University of Tennessee. So I'm not too sure. But this is the first time I ever knew he played football.
Had no idea. So
he's also
Chattanooga.
He's also an introvert.
Chattanooga.
Yeah.
He is an introvert. He would never tell you openly, hey, my name's Fezzy and I played football at the University of Tennessee. He would never do that, but he would let you know that he's a D1 athlete, Chattanooga, and that he did play a sport.
All right. Where were we? We're talking about the second heat now?
Yeah, the second heat, I think, is when Leroy and Casey win, because like Andy mentioned, this was the one where the defense was trying to stop every team aside from Leroy and Casey. So they kind of cakewalked into the winner's circle. And it's also a big advantage just knowing like they were on offense the first heat. So they have that experience of like trying to roll over the defensive teams, trying to get to the targets. They know where the targets are. So not a big surprise that Leroy and Casey win the challenge. And I mean, they're just steamrolling this.
Yeah. I mean, almost steamrolled more than Brady did during the entire career versus Peyton. But
watch it. MVP count.
God, Super Bowl counts.
Watch it.
So we talked about this last time, and you just made mention of it. If we said last week, if Leroy and Casey win again, do we start thinking about throwing them into the Stir the Pod Madness?
COVID replacement?
Honestly, I think we might need a COVID replacement team. There's a team out there right now that might need a little tag team help. Very Dwayne Wade toss to LeBron James meme as dunk. I feel like we might have to do it. But that's just
we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Any other final thoughts on the challenge?
It looked cooler than it actually was.
I'm surprised no one got hurt.
I know.
Yeah.
It
looked like you could have got messed up.
Like, well, at the beginning, it kind of reminded me of was it Natalie? No, was it Natalie that was like when the ball and she was just getting tossed around in there?
Yeah, I think that was Vendettas.
Boogie will know what we're talking about.
Boogie ain't here tonight. He's a candidate for LVP right now.
We'll get into that.
All right. So what do we got?
So they go back to the house after the challenge, and again, it's just a fast pace the entire episode, and it gets right down to the voting. And I mean, it was very clear like where the votes were going, because it was Leroy and Casey were out of the house vote, and it was basically 2 against 2, 2 teams against 2. Kyle and Amber and Big CT on one side, and then Cory and Cam, Nani and Fessy on one side. So the whole talk was, if they vote against each other, it's going to be a tie. And then that's where it ended up being Kyle and CT's little fake fight, which didn't really end up being, anything. And then CT turned on Kyle. CT was the swing vote. Kyle and Amber got the house vote.
Yeah, I was pissed at CT for that. I don't know why he did this whole fake fight thing. Or like he was telling Kyle about all this stuff and then, he lied.
Why are you pissed at him for that? He's in the finals.
Well, now, which we'll get into because some bullshit with that.
Whoa.
You are on another level because you started with this. I didn't want to cut you off at that point. Maybe we'll get into that, but what the hell are you talking about?
All right, Trev. I want you to make your point right now.
Please.
Why CT is pissing you off right here in this part of the episode?
Okay, well, everybody knows I'm not a big CT fan to begin with. So he's pissing me off because he made all the right moves is the real answer.
Ooh.
So
why don't you suck his dick a little more?
I hate him. I said I hope he loses. I wanted Nani to choose him as a partner because I wanted Kyle in the final. If Kyle's partner, Amber B, would have lost that challenge, he would have been in the finals. And that's what I wanted. I mean, I want the house. God, watch it.
So are you mad?
Listen, I wanted the house to go against each other. If Kyle was in the final, because realistically, next episode, Kyle's going to be thrown in, and it's going to be, who cares who. If CT's in that spot, then it gets very interesting to see who goes against CT. And if it's not CT and Kyle's safe, let's say CT wins, you're going to have one of those, the power three, the Nani team, the Cam team, and who's the other team? Leroy team. All three of those teams would have to choose two out of those three to go in. You get what I'm saying? It's better TV.
It's definitely better TV. I mean, I'm not a big CT fan either. I think he played it as best as he could, though.
No, he played it. No, he played it perfectly. I was pissed that he did do that, though, because I wanted to see chaos. I wanted chaos to happen. I want to see a tie in the votes. I want to see what would have happened and stuff like that.
Yeah, but if it was a tie, TJ would have pulled some bullshit twist that wasn't really a twist. He would have hyped it up a little bit. They would have got the music playing, and then it would have just said, double agents, who do you want?
So here's a question for you. I'll swing it this way for you, Andy. If they went to a 2-2 vote, do you think this episode would have been 90 minutes?
Dear God.
Do you think they would have stretched it out at that point?
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I think they have tossed both votes up to Leroy and Casey?
Maybe. Which I mean,
know.
In the end, Kyle.
Well, hold on. But think back to didn't what double agent duo had an absurd amount of power, where they got to pick exactly who was going in, what the matchups were. It was a 4-team.
It was Amanda and Zach, wasn't it? And they voted themselves in.
Yes.
Oh wait,
is that what you're talking about? Where the
are you
voting
talking about
was
this
a tie?
season or not?
No,
This
you're not
season.
talking this. Oh, no.
Didn't that happen earlier this season?
Didn't what happened? I'm not following the scenario.
He's saying, did it come down to a tie? And
No, no. I'm saying where the double agents had like a lot of power in terms of deciding who was going in, what the matchups were, etc. Am I crazy? What was the 4-team elimination?
I don't know. The season blends together.
Am I crazy? I don't think I'm crazy.
It was a 4-team elimination. So,
and there was 2 matchups. It was.
Oh, you're saying a double elimination. So 4 people, 2 teams.
No, I'm saying 4 teams, 8 people.
That happened? There was no purge.
No. I swear it happened where there was 4 different teams went down and 2 teams or 2 people got eliminated. I don't think I'm crazy.
Are you talking about when Darrell beat Devin in a puzzle,
yes.
and then CT beat the group?
Exactly.
Oh, okay. So technically 4 teams, but a double elimination.
There's no technically about it. 4 teams.
Well,
wait.
came out
How
to
many
two.
teams?
Yeah, but
No, but in that scenario, what I'm saying is, in that scenario, they gave a lot of power to the double agents because the double agents got to essentially decide who went down and what the matchups were. Jesse Adams, watch it. You're still on my shit list for the old Peyton, Tom Brady. I'm seeing that. But I would not put it past MTV to tell the double agents they get to pick both teams that go in a tie.
I mean, in these challenge producers are just the kings of making up rules as they go.
Path of least resistance. Thank you, Adam Vito's, for understanding what I'm saying.
who?
Wait, how did we get here?
God, I don't know. They all blend together. All right, let's get back on track. So basically, Kyle and Amber are thrown in. They're the house vote. And then there really wasn't anything. We go straight into the hall brawl, correct?
Yeah, because it was not a surprise that Leroy and Casey picked Big CT to be their vote because there was no other good options.
Correct.
So yeah, we get to the hall brawl. I mean, what do you guys think about this? There's not a whole lot to talk about of the elimination itself. Amber B, obviously not the toughest competitor, but she has experience doing this one, and she's bigger than Big T. You compare, like, so Amber, at this point, I was thinking this to myself. Amber and Big T both have skulls, so they both won eliminations. Amber, her elimination win was doing a literal hall brawl, so she knows what this one is, whereas Big T hung from a rope and swung faster than Anissa, who didn't move a fucking inch like a pig. So Amber's like gold skull proved to be 10 times more valuable than Big T. And obviously, we saw how it played out.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like Purdue basketball versus IU for the past 7 years. So, I mean,
Watch
it.
I mean, it was a beatdown, 2-0. What?
Jesse Adams is.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about me. I was like 2-0.
I do. Adam Meadows makes a great point though and we've kind of touched on this, that tonight with 5 teams left, everybody has their skulls. You send the teams into elimination. This was the fucking perfect time to do a double. I could not fathom the fact that TJ's stupid little curveball ended up being nothing again. And now the numbers are uneven. Like, it just makes no sense. They could have chopped off a guy and a girl right now, said, next episode we're going to the final. We'd all be much more excited tonight. And it was terrible the way they did that. I don't know why.
Could not agree more.
Yeah.
I was certain today was going to be a double. Certain.
I was 100% confident. Once I found out it was 60 minutes, you think we're getting a double elimination in 60 minutes? You're crazy. You're crazy. So, hall brawl happens. Amber beats Big T. No surprise there. Kind of sad to see Big T leave. I think she played one of the best seasons, if not the best season for her future, as I like to say, because she was kind of the person that was kind of on the rope. Will she be back? Will she not? I think she kind of solidified herself of being back for at least the next 3 seasons.
Ooh.
Who, Amber B?
No, Big T.
I think there's a chance she might not come back next season.
Well, I'm saying, like, she gets offered back, but, like, I think she'll get offered back for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
TV. I mean, that's all it is. I mean,
I don't disagree, but at the same time, I feel like it's almost like the Big T shtick has kind of run its course of, like, being this scrappy little underdog who has the funny voice and the wig and all that. And she makes the mean faces, and she might last a while. She might win an elimination against a hog tied against the pole with an apple in its mouth. But aside from that, she's not going to do a whole lot. So yeah, I feel like
you were literally saying she beat Anissa, who has been on the. How many seasons has Anissa been invited back to?
Well, Anissa paved the way for this.
She paved the way for her.
Come on.
She's an all-star like Jimmy.
She paved the way. I mean, she couldn't make it 5 fucking feet.
Half mile to run.
I hope we see Big T back.
I hope we do too.
I hope we do.
She's huge for this show. God, her toe this season.
That was awesome.
She's good TV. She's like I'm trying to think, a young Barry Bonds version. I was trying to think of a steroids person. Like if Tony is Barry Bonds on steroids, she is a less version of Tony, but you want her to be that. You know what I'm saying?
No, not really.
When Big T gets, she broke her toe and got kicked off the show.
Wait, did you just compare Big T to Barry Bonds and Tony Raines in the same comparison?
I'm saying if Tony Raines is the Barry Bonds, so like the greatest baseball player of all time, are we good with that? Partying and doing all that. Tony Raines is. Are you kidding me?
He's the greatest challenger of all time?
Greatest partier of all time in the challenge. Like the guy who goes insane. Yes, he clearly is. Nobody parties harder than who parties harder than Tony Raines?
Does Barry Bonds party?
Tanya.
All right, I'm done with Alex right now. He's on thin ice. He's on thin ice.
Trev, just admit, sometimes you start a sentence and you don't know where it's going. Sometimes you just got to chalk it up as a lie.
No. I'm just not using a baseball bat swinging. So I'm just not gonna finish this.
But all right, but serious question: could we get Tony back?
I mean,
who says no to having him back?
That's a great idea. I'd never thought about that, but I would love to see Tony back. Great idea, Alex.
I'm done with this shit. I'm done. All right, Alex, since it's your show, what's next?
So the elimination.
Go ahead.
The elimination finishes. Amber wins. Big T goes home, and then Amber picks Fezzi, which, I mean, she had a few different options here. I was surprised she didn't go. Well, I guess she couldn't go. I was surprised she didn't go CT, honestly. Like Fezzi,
why? Why do you have the alliance now on your side?
But at the same time, Fezzi is the bottom of that alliance.
Yeah.
No, she was.
No.
Amber B was.
Well, yeah, but now there's one less complete team.
I like the move.
The move was the best move you could possibly do. Why would you can't go to Cory because then Cory's a free agent. Obviously, if you could go, you couldn't choose Leroy. So who else would you choose? I thought it was the most logical choice. Andy, you agree?
I like the choice in general. I hated it because I want to give Fezzi no reason to think that he's good at this show because he's not. And I immediately after she picked him, oh, yeah, this is the third time I've been taking. Shut the fuck up. Do something. That right there made me piss off at the decision. But I do think for Amber B is a very good move because I think now that they have two Big Brother people on the same team, and Fezzi, I think, is an upgrade from Kyle in terms of competitor. Let's make sure that we'll bleep that out, Trev. But I like the move. I thought it was smart.
That's a fair point. I think my perception of the move may have been tainted by how much I disliked Fezzi's reaction to it with the big eye roll. Oh,
Yep.
I'm getting stolen for the third time.
Yeah.
Everybody wants me to be their partner. I get it. Like I'm the big guy that everybody wants to be with. So the move makes sense. Just fucking hate that guy's reaction.
Yeah, I mean, like we've already hit. There was no other move to make, I thought, because if you go with Cory, you're getting tossed in right away. So you might as well throw yourself in the alliance, see what happens, and go from there. So the next team we had was, since Fezzi got picked, we had to get Nani's pick, and Nani choosing CT over Kyle. What do you think about, or Nani choosing Kyle? Excuse me, Nani choosing Kyle over CT. My bad. I'm reading it.
And there was a good, when they said, Nani, who do you want? I feel like there was a good 2 seconds of silence where Kyle and CT were looking at each other. Then they immediately just went pick him, pick each other. And then she went with Kyle. I was surprised that she went with Kyle, regardless of, I get why they were both wanting her to pick the other one. But if you're Nani, wouldn't you want to choose the guy that's won a few finals and that's I don't know. I get. I'm not shitting on Kyle. Kyle's very underrated. But I was just surprised. I was just surprised she went with Kyle there.
Yeah, I was too. I literally fucked up because when I said it the first time, I was like, oh, that can't be right. I mean, Nani and CT would just be a power team, I feel like. Both vets, I mean, the only thing about that team is, but I don't know. You look at it from the other side with Kyle. Kyle doesn't bring anything to the table that CT wouldn't. They're both the bottom of the totem pole between the remaining teams, like alliance-wise. So I guess the pick, I mean, I don't know. Because you're probably going in. That team is probably going into an elimination next.
Agreed.
People forget Nani and CT had a little fling on Rivals too.
People do forget that because I don't.
I mean, Nani just making the rounds.
That doesn't sound like Nani.
God. So that leaves CT all by himself. And what do we think with CT?
Yeah. What does this mean?
I think it's safe to say he's safe, right?
I think so.
Like to the final?
The only bad side that he got tonight with CT not making the final, or CT going to the final, is he can't choose his partner. That's the only downside that he has. He doesn't know his partner until whoever the elimination is going to happen.
But at this point, is there that big of a drop off now that Big T's gone?
No, I don't think so at all.
Like, I don't think that. I think you're right. I just don't think that's like worst. That is the worst case scenario, but I don't think that's like the worst thing in the world, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I feel like you look at some of these teams like Casey and Leroy, they've worked together for a while now. So they get it. I mean, CT could go with somebody and not work with them at all the entire season. And, there's a disadvantage. But, I mean, sometimes that is
well, go full circle. I think that's why Nani picked Kyle. Because they were partners for like a cup of coffee. But I think that's all it took for her to say, Kyle, I'm coming home. And he was just pissed.
Yeah. Well, Kyle wasn't mad that Nani picked him. Kyle was more mad that he just lost his final. That was the reason.
Kyle was mad that Nani picked him. That was an incorrect statement.
No, I'm saying not because it was Nani choosing him.
I get what you're saying, but Kyle was upset that Nani.
Yeah, not for that reason though that Nani picked him. Like personally, it was just because of the game.
Right.
Yeah,
but Kyle was upset that Nani picked him.
Obviously, that's what I was getting at.
So realistically, going into next episode, I feel like it's kind of boiled down to two different options, two different paths for the next few episodes, because you would think that right now, what is it? 5 guys, 4 girls. Or sorry, no, other way around. 4 guys. Wait, no, it's 5 guys. 5 guys. 5 guys like the burger place. 5 guys, 4 girls. So you think that next episode, if it's a guy's elimination, 1 guy goes home, you have 2 options right there. It's either the next thing is the final with 4 teams or 8 individuals, or you do 1 more round and you have to force in a double elimination and only get 3 guys, 3 girls in the final, right?
I think it's 4-4 final. They've been doing that for the past.
I think so too. But like they can't. There's no way they can do a guy's elimination and then another girl's elimination. Like if they do another elimination after that, it has to be a double.
Correct.
Okay.
It won't be. Unless the only way it would be a double I see if they do like, and I haven't seen this for a while, but they do like the location change elimination. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that, like you do not want to go home now. Bananas versus Dario, Sarah beating, I guess it was Bananas versus Leroy in that pole wrestle. Something like that I would see, but I don't know.
Fair enough. So if it does end up being 4-4 in the final, I think that would 100% mean that right now CT's got his ticket.
I believe so.
Fair enough. So I mean, what else? That's pretty much the episode, right?
Yeah.
An hour long, not as much to cover this time. We had the challenge; it was okay. Then it just went right into the voting, right into the elimination. A pretty weak hall brawl. Do we think? Just a quick thought. Do we think they're almost overusing hall brawl as a franchise at this point? I love Hall Brawl. It's always been it's been the best headbanger. But when you know that you have a chance to bring it out, and you have a chance at the elimination is going to be Amber and Big T, that's just going to kind of downgrade what the Hall Brawl is, right?
I'm actually not mad at that take. I'd never thought about that, but I'm with you.
Because like when you think back to some of the good ones with Zach and CJ, Wes against Leroy in the hospital and all that, like usually it's good. Like the better people make for better eliminations, obviously. And like when they bring it on 3 times in the season, Fezzi against Nelson, that wasn't a good one. Like when you have a matchup that is going to be not an interesting matchup, not a close matchup, I feel like you should just save it.
Yeah, I agree. I think what it comes back to somehow full circle is the fact that they're repeating eliminations over and over and over and over again. The fact that we've only had 5, I think it was either 4 or 5 different eliminations is ridiculous. In a 16 episode season, 5 eliminations, I think that's a joke. And I don't want to pull the bullshit COVID card or anything like that. All you got to do is throw a poll in the middle, and that's something different. So
you know what I do like though? If you are repeating eliminations, I do like where they have either pick a card or spin the wheel or something like that, like before the elimination happens. I do like that.
They've done that a few times in like old seasons.
Because that just gives a bit of randomness to it. If you're going to do the same eliminations over and over, I mean, okay. But if you just randomly pick and choose and then you decide that Hall Brawl is for Amber B and Big T,
you're wasting it. Yeah,
I like taking as much power away from MTV as possible and just letting 2 people duke it out.
So when you say
randomness, it helps with that.
When you say spin a wheel, like whatever elimination, I'm picturing like 6 eliminations in a circle, and you basically spin whatever. When would that occur? Like in front of everybody, or like it can't happen like obviously at the elimination.
It's happened before,
but it hasn't happened at the elimination itself, right?
I highly doubt that because that'd be
to build the stuff.
Yeah. But like think about whenever the compromised agents, is that what they're calling them, get determined, spin the wheel. The compromised agents will be facing off in so-and-so.
Yeah. All right. Anything else before we wrap this up to segments?
I think I'm good. I think we can go to segments. Overall, we kind of all agree. It was a short episode, which in itself is good, but overall, just an average episode. We're clawing our way to the end.
Absolutely. Andy?
Could not agree more.
All righty. Let's get into some segments. Alex, what do we got tonight?
We got a few segments tonight. The first one is Who's Cory's Partner? We've done this a few times. We're racking up the partners, some might say, for Cory. So tonight's question is Who's Cory's partner?
Before we answer this, should we ask a little trivia question for the chat too?
Ooh,
we can. I think it might be a good trivia question, probably written up pretty well and everything.
So why don't you blow us and give it to us?
So in addition to the question of who's Cory's partner right now, our question to you guys in the chat is, on Double Agents, how many different female partners has Cory had?
Wow, so original.
From the start of the season, obviously we're 16 episodes in. How many different partners has Cory had? You guys want to start brainstorming while we wait for some answers?
Yeah, let's read some stuff in the chat. Sonia just wrote something. Let's get to. I'm reading it right now. It will be so CT punches ticket. Fezzi and Nani will get to pick their partner when Kyle lost.
All right, we got some answers flowing in.
Oh, you got some answers. Well, let's see. We got
a couple 8s. We got a 7. We got a 6. Or so. Well, sorry. We have 1 8, 1 7, 1 6. so far.
Ooh, they are coming in.
Trev, let's give them another minute or two. And let's talk who is Cory's partner. Is it Nani?
No, I don't know who it is. Is it Gabby?
No, she's gone.
Maybe part of the London trip 2021, 22.
The high level guys will understand. No. It's Cam.
Yeah, good call. So Cam is Cory's partner. Good job, Andy.
So Cory's partners this season. I'm gonna read them off. You guys maybe hold up your fingers, count for me as we go.
Yep.
So everybody's got their answers in. So lock those answers in. We see some 6, 7, 8. Cory's partners on Double Agents have been Tori, Natalie, Ashley, Teresa,
Who?
Amber M, Gabby, Big T, and Cam.
Wow. 8?
8?
8 different partners. Throw in a couple rogue episodes here and there, and that's Cory.
So realistically,
Averaging a partner every other episode. We're 16 deep.
and not averaging a different partner every other episode, and the one in between, he's a rogue.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Do you think the challenge or MTV or Buta Murray ever thought that this could happen when they were talking about the fact that they could change partners and everything? Do you think they would have ever thought in a million years that, technically there's probably some guy in the back when they're sitting in the meeting, when they're sitting on a WebEx talking about how, watch it, what could happen. Some guy in the back says, technically someone could have like 8 partners. Do you think that was just in one ear out the other? Because there's no way in hell that actually happens. I mean, this is bananas.
Johnny.
The guy who had that idea was an intern, and they dismissed him right away.
Correct.
No, they probably promoted him.
And come to find out, he's an AWL, and his name is Ryan McCord.
Jesus Christ.
8 different partners for Cory. There's how many? 12 girls to start the season? And he's been with 8 of them.
That's not possible.
It's actually very impressive.
Wait, realistically,
How many new kids do you think we're going to get from this season?
God, watch it. Teen Mom 3.
He's doing it for his kids.
So realistically, who's left? Amber B, Nani. He hasn't been with Nani, right?
Correct.
So realistically, he can get 9.
Or Casey.
But he can only get one more partner, right?
Probably, yeah.
Right?
He could get Nani, I think.
I think if it's Cory, he might find a way to get 2 or 3 more.
Yeah. All righty.
So that was the first segment. Who's Cory's partner? Next segment, Challenge Madness.
Yeah, let's dive right in.
All right. So as Trev is pulling up the bracket, we're breaking down the bracket of top challenge teams of all time, and we're to the final 4. And so we'll quickly kind of give our thoughts on the results of the last round. We definitely had some upsets, but we only have 4 teams left, so 2 matchups for us to debate tonight. Again, go to our Twitter @StirThePod. It's our pinned tweet. We're going to leave the polls open until next Wednesday, next episode day, so go get your votes in. And then next week, it'll be the championship. But for right now, we got 4 teams to talk about, 2 matchups. So what do we got, Trev?
Yeah, we got in our first matchup, which I don't even really want to get to. I think we might just skip. The fact that Emily and Paula lost to Jordan and Sarah is just an absolute disgrace. But yeah, I'll just leave it at that. And then below, we had Coral and Evan losing to CT and Wes, forming the Final 4 matchup of Jordan and Sarah versus CT and Wes. And overall, this is a good matchup on paper. I really do like both these teams. I think, God, I feel like everyone's going to lean towards CT and Wes just because, I mean, you're talking about 2 of the most iconic people to ever play the game. But I like Jordan and Sarah too. I think they played a really smart game. Not necessarily won that many daily challenges, but made the right moves and played very strategically.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I don't think this can't be our first matchup of the bracket where we have two champions going against each other, but I think it's definitely the first time where we have two champion teams of this caliber going against each other. Like Jordan and Sarah were a very good team. They were obviously the best team on X's 2. CT and Wes were dominant the whole season on Rivals 2. I think my vote would have to still go CT and Wes here. Although like it's very close. Like if I had like it wouldn't surprise me if this ended up being the closest matchup we've had in the bracket. I don't think it'll be that way, but I think CT and West have to just take it because of how purely dominant they were. But yeah, I have to touch on that matchup up top real quick. I'm shocked that Emily and Paula did not beat Jordan and Sarah. That's kind of, I don't know how it ended up being that. And Emily and Paula lost by like 20% or something. But anyway, I would say my vote would probably go CT and West. But Andy, what do you think about this matchup?
So I like Jordan and Sarah here. I know they didn't have necessarily a dominant season, but what I do like about how they played their season is they won when they needed to. So early on, they got a big win that gave them power to still ride the rails of the old West, the West like side of it, but also still kind of play the neutral zone and also bananas. And then at the end, when it really came down to it, I think they won back-to-back eliminations that punched their ticket to the final, and then they won the final. So even though they weren't winning every single daily elimination, day in or daily challenge, day in, day out, they won when they needed to, and they made the right strategic power political moves when it came down to it.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. But currently at the moment between this matchup, what would you guys think the percentage is at? You think it's close, not close at all?
I would guess like 60% CT and West. Like not a huge, like enough room between there to make it, if some votes coming in sway the other way, it maybe makes it closer. But I would say CT and West fairly comfortable lead.
I would agree.
CT and West 79% to 21%. 79 to 21.
That's almost disrespectful to Jordan and Sarah.
I think it is very disrespectful. Is Jordan and Sarah like UCLA?
But
I wouldn't even count them as UCLA at all.
I would compare them to, just looking at their last matchup, beating Emily and Paula. I would say Jordan and Sarah are kind of like that Wisconsin team that beat undefeated Kentucky and then lost the championship. Like they're probably not at this point. They're probably not going to win it all, but they took out the giant. They took out Emily and Paula.
And
that's a good way to put it.
To top it all off with that, who did Wisconsin lose to? The Blue Devils of Duke, which is very CT and West-esque, how I look at them. So moving on to the right side of the bracket, we had Bananas and Sarah taking out Wes and Kenny. Surely nobody on the pod's a huge Kenny fan, so we should move quickly through that. And on the bottom portion of the bracket, we had Cara and Laurel beating Bananas and Camilla. Forming the matchup, Bananas and Sarah versus Cara and Laurel. What do we think about this? Anything, Andy? Well, we'll start off with you here. Bananas and Sarah taking out Wes and Kenny. Thoughts?
I mean, I think I said this last week. This is what I expected, but not what I wanted. I mean, Bananas and Sarah was a dominant team. Wes and Kenny, if I were to draft up a 1-2 male team to win any given season, it's probably Wes and Kenny, but their season was not good. And Bananas and Sarah had a very good season. Doesn't surprise me, but I wish in an ideal world Kenny was in the Final Four and somehow Wes was not. But I would have liked to see Wes and Kenny move on here.
Yeah. Alex, anything on this?
No, not really. I think Bananas and Sarah, when we did the preview and they were the 1 seed, we talked about their chances in this region. And I think what we kind of said ended up playing out the way we said was that there's other good teams in here, and Bananas and Sarah aren't necessarily a home run every time. So they're going to have close matchups like they did with Wes and Kinney, CT and DM. But ultimately, they're probably going to make it out of there, and they did. So not a huge surprise that they ended up being the winner of the arena.
I think personally, and I don't really. Well, first, let's just talk real quick on Cara and Laurel beating Bananas and Camilla. Not really that surprising, I would say. This was kind of probably the weakest region, very Oregon State versus Houston-esque, I would say, of the tourney. Don't really care for this team. I'm not a huge fan. Alex, Andy, anything real quick on this?
Well, yeah, no, I agree just talent-wise, like kind of what we ended up getting out of the Redemption House. But I don't think, like, from the start, if you look at the 8 teams that are in that region, I don't think it was necessarily, like, the lack of talent there. I think it was just kind of how the matchups continued to play out. Because I think Cara and Laurel were the 4 seed that we came up with. Like, they were the 4th seed in this region. So the 1, the 2, the 3. Like, I feel like it was just like the way the first round matchups set up the second round. It set it up for some upsets, and it continued to like set this region up for upsets like that, which allowed for Cara and Laurel to come out of it. So it was just kind of a weird region from the start. I don't think it was necessarily a bad region. It just gave chance for, a George Mason to make the Final Four.
I think the craziest thing, and it's not that crazy when you look at the team that they're on, but it's crazy to think as a whole that only one person in the Final Four is on there twice. And it's Sarah, which I would have never thought. Like, just as a whole, when we're thinking of doing this, I would have never thought Sarah would be the person that's on there twice. But you look at their team, Jordan and Sarah, Bananas and Sarah, stud teams. I mean, legit top 10 teams of all time. So
let me go this route with you, Trev, because this is where I thought you were going. In terms of Cara and Laurel being in the Final Four, I mean, it's great that this is just kind of how the bracket shook out and they got an easy path. But it just baffles me how Cara and Laurel are in the Final Four and Coral and Evan are not, Wes and Kinney are not, and Paula and Emily are not. Like, that's just wild to think about.
This is March.
This is March. This is madness, honestly.
It is truly madness.
Does anybody want to try to make a case for Cara and Laurel here?
This is literally Bananas and Sarah versus Cara and Laurel is the equivalent of Gonzaga versus UCLA coming up.
Well, 14 points is a lot.
Like, where did Evelyn and Paula end up? I think they were in the top left one, because that's the team that literally beat Cara and Laurel on that season, and I don't think they even
3-16.
They won one round. Yeah. So again, Cara and Laurel, like we said, is just a Cinderella story, but I think it has to come to an end here, and I think Bananas and Sarah are beating them pretty soundly right now.
Yeah, I believe they're up about. I think it's 64 to 36. Yeah, 64% to 36% at the moment. So a decent number, still possible, to come back, but doesn't look like it. So
it's looking, just as the numbers are right now, a CT and West versus Bananas and Sarah's final. But regardless, I mean, even though Cara and Laurel are, I think, significantly worse, a tier below the other 3 teams in the Final Four, I think we got a good Final Four here, and good for them for winning their regions.
Agreed.
And again, so the next week, episode 17 recap, will debate the championship, and then I guess the week after that we'll talk about the final results. But again, the polls, if you guys are listening on the podcast, within the next week will be open still. So go to our pinned tweet at Stir the Pod and get those votes in.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better. So, any other segments?
I think we're gonna wrap it up with MVP and LVP.
Yeah, for sure. So you guys know what to do. MVP, LVP time. Put in the chat the order you guys want us to rank, say our MVP, LVPs. So
I feel like this one might be a harder episode to come up with winners just because of the fact that it was a short one.
Yeah.
And like there wasn't a lot of like extracurricular stuff that happened this episode. It was very straightforward, challenge, elimination, winners, losers, and all that. This one might be tough.
Alex, Trev, Andy.
Everybody, it's never the same. It's always different. Should we do? Who did we do last time? Did we do Ryan? Oh wait, deciding one. God damn it! Are you fucking kidding me?
All right. Well, 2 of them have Trev as last. 2 of them have Alex as first.
Well, I think it should be Alex,
Andy, Trev.
Yeah, good idea. Thanks.
So what Ryan McCord's in.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So I'll start it off with MVP. Again, you guys know as we're giving our picks, give your picks in the chat. So we'll start with MVP. My MVP tonight, I don't like doing it, especially with what we touched on in the recap, but I think I got to go CT. I got to go CT just because, he has his skull now. He very likely has his ticket punched to the final, and he did it in he didn't get his ticket punched to the final through luck. Like he had a plan, he executed it perfectly. As bad as I feel for Kyle for that, CT did what he had to do. There's a good chance he has his ticket punched. He's rogue right now. So I'll go MVP of the episode, CT.
Great pick. That was going to be mine. But I do still like my pick for MVP. My pick for MVP is going to be the team of Leroy and Casey. They can't lose. Like they've won 5 dailies now? They both have their skulls. They're just dominant. And I would really like either one of them in the final. So they are that team is my MVP for today.
Fuck Mikey the doctor. Fuck Mikey the doctor. Yeah. I can't even say anything. That's just too funny. My MVP tonight is 60-minute episodes. The absolute GOAT. You can't really get much better than that. It's still 10:19. We're not recording till 11 Eastern. So yeah, can't really complain about that. And the pace felt nice. You know what I'm saying? Those 60-minute episodes, the pace feels good. And I feel like we're more positive. You guys are more positive in the chat. We feel lively. Some of us not saying me, might have had some off night tonight, but
Yeah, and shout out to Mikey the doctor for giving you that idea.
Yeah, I guess it is. So before he says my LVP is not Fezzi. It's going to be Kyle. And I think Kyle is in a really bad spot now. The only way he does not get thrown into the next elimination is if he wins the daily challenge. It's going to come down to the daily challenge, and if he loses that daily challenge, he's fucked. So best case scenario is he goes down for the daily and he can fuck around. If he wins that challenge, he can literally force Cam to go against Leroy or whatever the house. I guess no, he can't, because Leroy and Cam are just gonna gang up on Fezzi. Then you get what I'm saying? Damn.
Sure.
You don't get that? If they win the challenge and then there's a vote, Leroy, Cam, they would vote for Fezzi, and then Fezzi's in. So it's just gonna come down to whoever Kyle votes for. Damn.
Are you changing your LVP then?
No, my LVP is still Kyle. I think he's in the worst spot in the house by far. And it's a real shame because I really wanted him to go to the challenge, and he was literally one pick away from going to the final. And it's tough. So.
Okay. So my pick for LVP.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like I have to go to a default pick, but at the same time, I do like this pick. My pick's gonna be MTV. This is just another they started the episode and they were just it was one of those that started and they were just begging for it to be over. It was literally, it did nothing but just shave off one person from the challenge. It was a 2nd and 8 dive up the middle for 2 yards. That was all it was. It was just keep the ball moving. Let's not try to do anything fancy, but let's just try to keep the ball moving. Very unappealing. They've done this almost all season, but I got to give them an LVP for it because a 60-minute episode, and we've talked about this to start. If you have a 60-minute episode that feels like it's dragging, that's bad. That's real bad. So MTV is my LVP for tonight.
Alex, round to finish her off.
Fair enough. I'm going to go LVP Hall Brawl.
Wow, might be the first ever LVP for a Hall Brawl. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance it is, and I think it's just because Hall Brawl used to be something where if Hall Brawl happens in an episode, we spend the majority of the time talking about it, dissecting every single round, saying if we were surprised and whatnot. And like Big T was the loser in this elimination, but I don't think you could give an LVP to her. Like, she had a great season and all that. But I just think overall Hall Brawl is something that they've done 3 times this season. And I feel like it used to be something where it was like they would do once every 3 seasons. And when it would happen, it was like an event. They would cut to the commercial, good old-fashioned headbanger, all that. This time it was like, oh, we have a Hall Brawl. Let's put 2 of the weakest girls in there. Absolutely. It used to be something special, not as special anymore.
Yeah. Honorable mention, LVP Andy, no rant.
No, easy chat. I don't think a rant was needed. There just wasn't a lot that happened.
I think to go off of that, I think that might be an LVP or an MVP for you, Andy, that you said an LVP was MTV, but you didn't rant on it at all. I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. It's honestly come to the point, and I think Ryan McCord called it out earlier, of how Stir the Pod needs to take over for production. Like, it's just to the point where I genuinely think that our ideas are light years better than theirs. And, like, it's hard to even get, like, upset about it anymore.
But, like, what ideas would you bring to the table? Like, something fresh, something new, something, I don't know, something like a trilogy or something? I don't know.
I mean, I would just love to see, I think MTV has teed up a perfect trilogy that has not had their 3rd part yet.
I agree.
Yes, it is Battle of the X's 3.
Oh, come on.
No. Fresh Meat 3.
War of the Worlds 3.
Please, no. Fresh Meat 3, bring it back. That's all there is to it. No rant needed. We are obviously the brains behind this organization. The AWLs are as well. Just give us the reins. Let us get an 8-episode miniseries instead of this bullshit All-Stars that we had to painfully witness a 5-minute little excerpt of.
Did you guys watch? I actually did not watch. As soon as the episode was over, I was getting set up. Was it worth watching? How did we look?
My impression of the 5-minute preview was not enough to tell. And maybe that's a cop out, but I don't think it was enough to make a decision either way.
Andy?
Like, it was good from the sense that it was just classic challenge intro, the music, oh, you may remember me from this challenge, but I don't know. Overall, I think there's just so many no names on the season that it doesn't make me want to watch it. Jimmy?
I think the fact that they used the name All-Stars and brought back that cast is just an insult to challengers of all time, I think.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. Like, you can't expect to put a house full of, like, every single person who did their intro. Yeah, I'm married with kids.
No shit.
So why the fuck do I want to watch you? You're probably boring as shit. Like, I don't want someone who's 40 and married with kids. I want someone who's 23 years old, who has no job, who has no future. All they have is to come on the challenge, get blacked out, try to hook up with as many people as they can, and then mess around in some challenges. That's what I want to see. That's TV. You don't want to see some 40-year-old who's getting 2 weeks off work so she can go film the challenge. Get the fuck out of here. It's a waste. Waste of money, waste of time.
I think next week, too, when we give a episode 1 recap of it, just a brief one at the tail end of this, I think what we should do as a group, and in the chat too, just be prepared. I think we should list off 12 male and 2 female of who we think are the greatest like if you were to put like an all-star team together to make a cast list of the challenge. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Yes, no?
You got Dario, Tony, Johnny Riley.
Yes. Johnny Riley is a top 10 person. He's awesome. He beat Bananas up the mountain. People forget that.
So one quick honorable mention for LVP that I do want to run by you guys. I was between Hall Brawl and this person. I was thinking about saying LVP Cory, just because I feel like he is the most unprotected person in the house at this point. There's only 9 people. CT, who might have his ticket to the final. You have Leroy, Cam, who have each other's back. Casey's been with Leroy forever. Fezzi and Amber are now another big brother team. Like, I feel like, and Nani and Kyle are kind of together. So I feel like Cory, obviously he's with Cam. I get that. But if some sort of shakeup were to happen there, I feel like he has nobody watching out for him.
I mean, yeah, but I feel like that's kind of the case with everybody at this point. I mean, if any shakeup happens now, did we lose Andy? Wait,
I think he's just thinking about my honorable mention. I think he's contemplating it.
No, I like the move, but I just think like the whole shakeup thing.
I didn't go with him for my LVP. I stuck
No,
with
I know. I'm just kind of thinking of the opposite way of things and just kind of thinking, but we'll forget that.
Honorable mention MVP, honestly, at this point is us for continuing to go 16 episodes deep, and obviously the live chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're so close to the end.
Chat is always on point. The Jesse Adams, the Ryan McCord, the Mikey Doctors of the world. We lost Andy. I'm gonna give him a side LVP for that. So it might be the first honorable mention I've given him an MVP and LVP at. I think he was also really scared of Jesse Adams and Ryan McCord. I feel like they were bullying him tonight. So if we can just tone that down or turn it up, I'm fine with that.
Turn it up.
And I want you guys tonight's mystery word for Andy is going to be Peyton Manning. So if you're saying like Peyton Manning sucks, he won't listen to this part of the show. So just kind of mess with him from now on. And we'll see. Yeah, see, Peyton, he can't handle the Peyton Kenny takes. Absolutely. So I think his computer probably died. But thank you guys for listening to a brand new Stir the Pod podcast show. I've been your host, Trevor. You can follow us on Twitter. Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. Love you guys. Shout out Duffy. Me and Alex, what do you know? Just us by ourselves.
What else? Love you guys.